What's up everybody, welcome to the fifth C++ tutorial, and in this one we'll be taking a look at variables. Alright, so what is a variable? In simple terms, a variable is a named memory location wherein you can store a certain value. Alright, the value can be anything. Now C++ supports a lot of data types. I mean like integer, float, string, character, etc. So different data types are used to store different types of values. So we'll be taking a look at some of the ones that are used in C++. Alright, so the first one is int, which stands for integer. So you have to type it, you have to specify the the data type first, and then the name of the variable in which you want to store a certain amount of data. So since in this case we are using int, so we'll be specifying integer values inside that particular variable. So let's say the variable name is a. Now a variable name can be anything, but always remember it should be a combination of alphabets. It will obviously start with a small letter, the small lowercase alphabet, any lowercase English alphabet, or it can start with an underscore as well. But other than that, no other things can be accepted. All right, like you cannot use special characters like ampersand and all that stuff to start the name of the variable. All right, only underscore, or you can use simple lowercase English alphabet. All right, so it can be combination of alphabets as well. You can provide meaningful names to the variable as well, like let's say for example int value. You can provide something like this, but make sure that you don't provide anything that is a keyword. All right, that is a reserved keyword. For example, you shouldn't provide a variable name like int namespace. You cannot do that because namespace is a reserved keyword. As you can see, we use it over here, so you cannot use that particular keyword in naming a certain variable in C++. Alright, so let's start off with the simple variable. So we'll be using the alphabet A to store a variable, to name a particular variable in of the int data type. And if you want to declare more variables of one single data type, you can separate them with commas. All right, so a comma, let's say b, and once you end a certain once you have decided the amount of variables that you need, and let's say you don't need any other integer variable or any other similar data type variable, then you can terminate that particular statement or particular line with a semicolon. Now once that's done, you can also go to the next line, and let's say for a certain reason you want to declare more integer variables, so you can again specify int and then let's say sum. You can do it like that as well. Now let's say that you want to assign a certain amount of integer value to this particular variables, to the respective variables a and b. So you can do that over here, like let's say for example a equals 10 and let's say for example b equals 20. All right, so you can do that in this way. And let's say for example you want to do the sum of these two. Now mathematical operations, will be taking a deeper look at it in the next video, but this is just a simple demonstration. So sum is equal to a, let's say, plus b, and let's say you want to print out the sum of you want to print out the result, so you can type in something like this: the sum of the values is sum and L. So we have done this particular, the sum of the values is sum, and let's say if we build and run this, let's see what happens. So as you can see that the sum of the two values is 30. So we had 10 inside one variable, 20 inside the other, so 10 plus 20 is 30. Now let's say for example you inside of integer, as you can see, we stored in 10, but if you wanted to store something like 10.9 or something, you cannot do that inside an integer value. All right, you can do it inside a floating point value. So for that, just let's say we have to declare the keyword float, and let's say we take in C over here, And as we did in the previous case, we declared the variable and then in some other point we put in the value, but you can simply declare it at the moment or at the point wherein you just declared that particular variable. So we just declared float c and we directly set it equal to, let's say, 45 point, let's say 63, and let's terminate that particular statement. And let's say you want to add up these three variables, let's say a plus b plus c, so you can do that in here as well. So a plus b plus c, and the result of 45.63 plus 10 plus 20 will be stored inside this sum variable. Alright, so let's run this. Let's see what happens. Alright, so we get the result of 75. Now you might be wondering, where is that 0.63 gone? So there is a catch over here. Alright, let me explain you that. So over here what happens is that the sum variable that we have chosen, that sum variable falls under this integer category. Alright, so integer category doesn't take in the decimal point values. So what will happen is that if you anyhow supply in a decimal point value, as we did in this case, it will basically ignore that ignore whatever is on the right side of the decimal point. Alright, in case of any integer value. So for that we can just simply set that to float. Let's say we set it as float sum and not int sum. Now let's do it. So as you can see, the sum of the values is 75.63, which is the exact result. Alright, now you can also declare strings as well. Now strings are combination of characters. You can, let's say, let's take an example. Let's say string, and then let's say name, and we set it equal to, let's say, my name itself, Dhruvajyoti De, and terminate that with a semicolon. Now always remember that whatever string variable you take and whatever value you assign it, that value should be inside quotation marks. Alright, it can be inside single quotes, it can be inside double quotes, doesn't matter, but it should be inside quotation marks. Alright, so as you can see, we have done this, and let's say we declare another value, let's say of integer, and let's say we put it age is equal to 22. Alright, so we write another statement over here which simply prints out something like this: cout my name is name and my age is age, endl. And if we simply run this, let's see what happens. So as you can see, the sum of the values is 75.63, which was the first statement that we put in over here. It says cout the sum of the values is sum, and the next statement is my name is Dhruvajyoti De and my age is 22. Alright, so as you can see, we have done that in here. Alright, so that was a quick and real world example of how you use and declare variables. So that's it for this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.